Yes, it's here. Is the job done? Fine. Briefcase style, yes. It's all there. Look at this case. That's ridiculous. Hi, welcome to ConvinceMeAudio. Courtesy of Mimic Cables, a supplier of Benchmark, Audeze, Focal, IFI, and a bunch of other extremely exciting products. I have the pleasure of bringing the review of the LcdXC 2021 to you. There's so much to talk about, and there's been quite a lot of upgrades from the 2019 edition. Let's get on with it. So, you part with your money and you are supplied with a briefcase style lunchbox-esque upside down box like this. And then when you do find the right way around, this thing weighs quite a bit and it's quite a lot of protection. The corners are metal enforced so that if it bashes on a corner, it will not collapse in on itself. Fantastic opening and closing mechanism. Sounds like an FBI agent opening the $1 million case. Inside, you've got perfect lined foam to protect the cups, the drivers, the headband, and all the other materials of the headphones themselves. We are supplied with a long OCC copper cable, single-ended, bunch of cards with authorization, signatures of the headphones, etc., and a nice set of keys to keep grubby little kids away from the headphones when you're out of the house. Taking these heavy headphones out of the case, let us dispense with this massive thing. Oh, bloody hell, that wasn't good. We are greeted with an Audeze LcdXC line, Audeze line, LCD line headphone. If you've seen one, you've seen pretty much all of them. Built like a freaking tank, metal headband up top, perfect springy structure, which is very, very fantastic. Tilting arms are on a slant and they're very stiff. They kind of need to be for the weight of these drivers, which is absolutely insane. This headphone comes in at 677 grams or thereabouts. Give or take a few grams, and it has gone through an extraordinary diet from the previous generation, which weighed 760 freaking grams. So very heavy. They're Audeze, okay? They're heavy. If you find Audeze headphones comfortable, you will find these comfortable. If you've never found Audeze headphones comfortable, then you need to wait for the LCD5 review, which has already been ordered. So subscribe and press the notification icon, though I hate saying it, so you don't miss that review. Taking out the foam inserts over here, we are greeted with this headphone. Now, these cups are carbon fiber. They're really beautiful. Also, there are 4 screws that you can see on the outside. These screws can be undone, so you could probably technically turn this into an open back. I think there might be a mod for this, which we will later try. These headphones isolate very, very well. Due to the ergonomic design of these rounded cups, you no longer get the saddle feeling of headphones waving this way and then waving that way as you're turning your head. So they are quite ergonomic, but very, very heavy still. These are not light headphones. The arms of the headphone and the structure is metal anyway. It's very, very durable. I mean, this thing is going to last you years. The pads that come with the LcdXC 2021 is this vegan-esque fake pleather material, which is very comfortable. It springs back exponentially. Look at the bounce on this thing. It's very comfortable. The wedge design of these pads actually will give the headphones a more wedged wear on the head, which basically will make them a lot more aerodynamic and a lot more form-fitting to the head. From what I can recall from the 2019 edition, this wedge wasn't so steep, it was more closer to the back size. This is one of the biggest updates they've done to these headphones, the pad, the tuning from the pad. Don't worry about these pads, we will get to it and why they're on here in a little while. And trust me, you want to stick around for that, because I can tell you some incredible things about this headphone that will make it a contender to these two on either side of me at $3,000. Maybe not quite on their level, but enough that you would go, I don't know which one to wear today. I don't know which one to use. The transducer construction of these Audeze headphones is planar dynamic, obviously, because it's their bread and butter. The magnet structure is a proprietary magnet array. Phasing is handled by phasers, and the impedance of these headphones is 20 ohms and the sensitivity comes in at 100 dB. The Audeze LcdXC 2021 hits 10 Hz all the way up to 50 kHz, so quite good. So what's been upgraded from the 2019 and the previous models of the LcdXC? Well, first of all, the weight. That used to be 760 grams, heavier than the LCD4, if you can believe it. This has gone on an extreme diet, 670 grams, as we mentioned earlier. Not only this, but they've removed a couple of magnets and they've removed a couple of the phasers and actually laid out the magnets in a different formation, spaced it out a bit. How this impacts the sound, because I have been pad rolling, a very special thank you to Dekoni for sending in a massive amount of pads for us to test with these headphones, including the Focal Stellias. So if you're interested in that, you know what to do. There is a difference between the sound caliber of the driver of these ones and the 2019 LcdX, which I owned. Unfortunately, I never got an opportunity to review those because obviously the channel had not come to fruition at that point in time. But I will be reviewing the LCD 2021 X edition shortly. So that gets the housekeeping out of the way. These headphones are extraordinarily easy to drive, such as these. Let's have a look. The IFI Go Blue, thanks to IFI for sending this unit in for review. It's absolutely spectacular and the review of this will be coming shortly. So a little unit like this will drive the LcdXCs fine, which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. This little unit is tiny and has 4.4 balanced as well as a 3.5 single-ended. So basically you can actually use those both for single-ended and balanced. Let me get out of the way. We can also power it with the Apple Lightning dongle and the Apple USB-C dongle here as well. Now, this is a massive benefit to a closed back. I don't know who would wear this outside. This is more designed really for office and house to block out the kids or block out co-workers for isolation. They're too big and bulky to wear this outside, but some of you I'm sure do, and I would love to hear from you, so please put it in the comment section down below. Do you wear the LcdXCs outside? Let us know. That's the headphones. We have also a OCC copper over 4 feet cable. Actually, I think this might even be 6. This thing is long. This thing's very, yeah, this, oh, I think I'm out of frame. Am I out of frame? I think I'm out of frame. Yeah, very, very long cable. But talking of ergonomics and Audeze's cables, I think they make the best manufacturer cables in the industry. I love this braided design. I love the flexibility. It doesn't really keep shape. Not really. It's a little bit stiffer than I would like, but pretty nice cable, to be honest with you. It's not bad at all. Coming back to the headphones. Let's discuss the most important reason why you're here. How do these sound? In a nutshell, absolutely freaking fantastic. We have been running it on the pendant tube amplifier behind me, Purify Eval amplifier behind me. That's a power amp, and the review for both of those will be coming shortly. The A90 D90 stack back there too, and obviously these little dongles and things that have been dotted around the studio. So very easy to drive, sound excellent on most things. Power requirement is almost non-existent, but if you supply not enough power, it doesn't sound good. The bass region just falls apart. If you provide too much power, the treble region goes out of whack. So you just need the correct amount of power, and something like this IFI Go Blue for on the go was just freaking insane. On the pendant, holy hell. Price to performance ratio, I think these might be the winner for 2021. I am blown away. We gave that crown to the Arias previously. Arias are a long-standing, ultra-high performing, high-resolving, increasing in quality with your chain headphone. They take the comfort over these. They take a little bit of the stage on solid state. On tubes, that's a different matter. What I would like to actually test is bring the Aria Stealths in for review on tubes and see how that stage is. So they sound good, but how do they actually sound? So let's break it down. The overall sound characteristics of these headphones can be described as in transparent, bright, clear, high resolution, and very resolving. It's actually a fantastic reminder of the HD800S. Except the mid-range, where there are some caveats. They trade blows with the HD800S, but it has the same tonality and the tonal balance. The tonal balance of these headphones is unlike any other Audeze I've heard from the 2, 3, 4. They all sound very different to this. This is a black sheep of the family. In fact, so much so, I was actually quite surprised. And the majority of the tuning largely comes from this pad. This pad seems to be the instigator of the new sound characteristics. You can't compare this with the LcdX, it's very different. But how open and airy and spacious it is for a closed back headphone is quite frankly stunning. I determined that the Aria was the best headphone money could buy price to performance ratio in the lower tier flagship category, due to the fact that they immensely upscale with equipment, they are extraordinarily good at everything, and yet they are not fantastic at anything. These take that to another level in regards to detail, microdynamics, punch, impact, and good staging, spatial separation, and a fantastic tonal balance, with some minor caveats which we will get into when we break down the frequency response. Suffice it to say, I have been utterly mesmerized by these, especially using it on a tube amplifier like the Pendant. It's just been so good. Honestly, I think this on tubes might be endgame for a lot of you who are watching. So that's enough gushing. Let's break down the frequency response. Using the stock pads, these pads that come with the headphones out of the box, the sound is very punchy in the bass region, but there is not a large elevation in the sub-bass region. There is good presence there. There's fantastic body, and it does feel kind of bottomless, but it's rather lean and linear, and it does roll off a little bit around the 20 Hertz region. So for some people who might want a bit more of the rumble and a bit more of the body in the low end, EQ can be applied to these quite well, though personally I can't stand EQ because I think it messes up drivers, and very few people know how to do it properly, and those who do, who have sent me EQ profiles and stuff, I just don't care for it because I think it's pushing the drivers beyond a boundary of what it was tuned for. I will actually come back to this topic in a fireside chat, which I am planning to record soon, about EQ and how it's not the answer to everything. But there are ways around this, which we will get onto. In regards to texture and spatial separation for the bass region for instrument is actually very good. It's quite clear, it's clean, it's transparent, and it's highly resolving. And obviously it has the incredible Audeze bass response. Though some people, like I stated, might like a little elevation. Climbing up to the mid-bass region, it is quite punchy. It is very defined. It's actually got good nuance, and the attack is fantastic on solid state amplifiers. On tube for EDM, this is a no-go. This is more definitely for a solid state amplifier such as the Purify behind me. Review for that will be coming shortly. It's immensely satisfying for bands like Infected Mushroom and Monster Cat, the hardcore EDM genres. Climbing up to the upper bass region, this is where I'm finding a little umbrage with these headphones. By dropping the upper bass region by a few dB, it does give a fantastic sense of space and room for the lower mid-range and the mid-range to actually breathe properly and emphasize that area of the frequency response where it feels like you can literally see into the heart of the mix. But in conjunction with this upper bass region and the mid treble and lower treble region, it combines to create a rather thin sound for a lot of attacks. My example for this would be the Inception horns. It doesn't have the resonances and the body and authority there, unfortunately. So overall, the bass region is quite good, though it does require a little bit of work for some users. Okay, genres of music: EDM, rock, classical, jazz, all seem to work really well with these headphones due to that liquid, transparent sound, that good tonal balance. It's actually quite surprising. Audeze are known for being EQ'd or for pad rolling or just touching the freaking frequency response up. Even themselves, they release actual EQ preferences for people. But with this one, I don't think you need it. I know how you can make it so much better, but I don't think you need it out of the box. Let's climb up to the mid-range. Okay, the mid-range, in the lower mid-range and in the mid-range is luscious, beautifully toned. Oh, the tonal balance is absolutely fantastic. No harsh discord. The resonances for instruments like electric guitars in this range, for lower ends of saxophones and stringed instruments is absolutely spectacular. You can see right into the heart of it and it resolves incredibly well. So much so that it's an absolute pleasure to listen to. This region of the frequency response does come alive with tubes. Oh blimey, it's very, very addictive. In fact, I've been using these headphones not just because of the review that we are filming now, more than this baby and more than this incredible one. To be honest, this one I'm a bit scared to touch at the moment because I know it will take up all my time. But this one is daily driven, but for evening listening, this has been all the way. And we have Sasvara's over there, we have Diana's here next to me, and a bunch of other headphones that are around the studio. So you can imagine this is up against some stiff competition, and yet I'll keep reaching for it, even considering the weight. Where trouble occurs and where my problem happens with this headphone is in the upper mid-range. The upper mid-range and lower treble region is so forward. If your track is badly mastered and it emphasizes this region, the ear gain region, for my ears, it's too much. At times, it's almost, actually no, it's as bad as the HD800S. That headphone has got the same problems as this. They sound very tonally the same. It's quite surprising. Planar version, dynamic version. We often say the Aria is the HD800S in planar form. No, I think it's this. This is the HD800S in planar form. Without the enormous stage, it does stage very, very well, but obviously not as big as the HD800S. And also instrument size on the HD800S is much, much bigger. Yet this headphone has got much better bass response. Oh, bloody hell, yes. So, quite shouty in the upper mid-range for a lot of genres, especially pop and general radio music. This can assist a lot of genres where that region is recessed in the mix and actually bring it forward a bit and give you that full frontal, nope, not the word you're thinking of, full frontal viewing. But the majority of the time you find that it's a bit shouty and actually it's quite fatiguing. Climbing up to the treble region, in the lower treble, same problem again as the upper mid-range. That region is actually quite forward and it can become very, very fatiguing. It's resolving, it's really good, but it can become very fatiguing. Where it smooths out is in the mid-treble, where instruments, if it's individual, make a note of that, individual instruments and individual sound characteristics in the mid-treble, it's smooth, it's highly resolving, it's very detailed, it's like looking through a crystal clear glass, it's wonderful. Climbing up to the upper treble region, there is quite a lot of energy up there and it's very airy as well. So some people might like to bring this down a tad. In the region of 5.5K, 6K, that's when this comes forward quite a lot. And there is quite a lot of air in the region above 10K, quite a lot. I think a lot of people might find it quite fatiguing, but you can't just stamp on it with EQ because it will affect the other frequencies. We've touched on stage a fair bit, but moving on to the stage, they are surprisingly open. So much so that you never ever once think that these are closed backs. Actually, it surprises me quite a lot. They are almost as wide as these. The Verite-Closed from ZMF. They're almost the same size as well. These are heavier, but much lighter. But the fact that these headphones, the LcdXC, I think these are 1800. I think you can grab them for 1300 if I'm not mistaken. I will actually put the price of these headphones down below. You can check out Mimic Cables. He will assist you if you decide to buy these. Obviously, he sends units in for review, and I really, really deeply appreciate it. But obviously, no money changes hands, and he doesn't tell me, please say this, please say that. I am speaking from experience in dealing with him. He has been supporting this channel ever since we've had 100 subscribers, and he is such an absolute gent in our community, in all of our groups, and he can get you all of these manufacturers' headphones at very, very good prices, and he's on the ball. He really will help you out and communicate with you. Wonderful guy. So the fact that these lower tier flagships can actually rub shoulders with these kings of the industry in the closed back form is saying something, quite honestly. The stage is spherical like this, but you are on the equator line of the stage yourself. You're viewing, and the stage will round out in front of you. Sometimes you will come forward and you will go back to where you were. Vocals and the whole stage can collapse and come forward and can expand widely. On tubes, this becomes absolutely immense. Instruments all the way over there at the borderline of the stage is actually very, very present and as clear as crystal and as clean and defined as the ones right at the front here. It's absolutely mesmerizing. I am so enamored by the stage and imaging on these headphones. I had the LcdX 2019 and those did not image very well. They did not stage very well. Their tonal balance was not too great, but they were a fantastic headphone. They just weren't special at anything apart from that punch of the planar. But this is something special. Dynamics in the stage is actually quite good. It's not stellar, it's not HD800S levels of insanity, but it's pretty good. The subtle sonic characteristics can be well defined alongside the louder variants, and they do coincide and help each other out, and it actually does not blur, which is wonderful. Where this headphone does fall apart is in the treble region, where it needs to resolve a lot of images at the same time. Instruments that cascade and coincide together. For example, you've got violin, you've got singer, you've got synth, you've got everything else in the region of the lower treble, mid treble and treble together will become a shouty mess a lot of the time. This headphone likes 3 or 4 instruments and preferably not all at the same time. That's where its weaknesses show compared to the VC and compared to the Stellia. The Stellia's resolving category in the treble region and where a bunch of instruments are together is just flipping insane. On the LcdX it falls apart. So we've touched on dynamics, imaging and staging a little bit. Using my most difficult test track, Hans Zimmer's Pirates of the Caribbean suite from Qobuz. It's a 2-parter. Has got the tendency to break 9 headphones out of 10, and this is definitely one of those that it breaks. Very few headphones can resolve the track perfectly. Sasvara, yes. Stellia's, tolerable. VC, I've not tried yet. LcdXC, the quiet regions are very good. Anywhere from mid-mids and below, it's actually pretty resolving, pretty good separation. It defines it very, very well. Anything in the treble region, it becomes a mess. It can't, its treble is the weakness. Now, let's discuss pad rolling with these. The pads on this unit right now is this one, the Lambskin Elite from Dekoni. Absolutely fantastic. This brings a good headphone into the category of an outstanding headphone for the price point. It smooths out the treble, so that there is very little left of that mid-range lower treble forwardness. It smooths it out beautifully. It corrects the tonal balance so it's not as bright. It's a little bit more sweeter sounding. It's a bit like going from an A90 to a GSX Mini, if you've got those two amplifiers and you know what I'm talking about. It sweetens it. It gives it a little bit more flavor without coloring anything. The next thing it does is actually accentuate the full range of the mid-range, where it becomes a little bit mid-range focused, but with perfect tonal balance and perfect accuracy for these headphones. I think it just nudges the frequency response here and there a touch, where it feels like now these headphones are actually performing the way they should. My brain is not telling me, okay, there's something wrong here in the treble, there's something wrong here in the mid-range, and the bass region is not quite touching it there. That brings us to the bass region in the sub-bass. These do elevate the sub-bass by a bit, and they elevate the mid-bass by a bit too. And yet, what I can't comprehend is the fact that they don't shrink the stage. It's still fantastic. They don't blur the image in. These Dekoni Elite lambskins might be the most comfortable, the best pads of any headphone I have tried on this channel during our journey. The feedback on it is slightly slow, but it's not slow enough where you have to wait 5 minutes for it to bounce back. Look at this, comes straight back up. And the feel of them, it's so soft. I think it might be some of the softest things you have ever touched. You can imagine a Ferrari car leather seat being made like this. It's just absolutely insane. They will never come off this headphone, because this on tubes is just divine. It's something you can't stop reaching for. So if you have these headphones, I advise you to buy these pads. I will link it down below, and a special thank you to the Dekoni again, who have sent these in for review, and they have asked me to say absolutely nothing that I don't believe. They've not asked me to sign anything, and they're not paying us. They just said, I have a bunch of pads. Look, we've got all of that Stellia pads back there too. Just tell us what you think and give us your feedback. And this is my feedback. This, by far, is the most comfortable pad I have ever used in my life of any headphone, including Sasvara's, and they're built really well. I appreciate the box is magnetic. You can actually keep your pads in this when you roll. This pad with this headphone can rival almost these. And these are $3,000, almost 2.5 times the price. They can almost rival these, $3,000, and it makes it even more comfortable. I think the OG pads here, where did they go? OG pads! Okay, let's take it out of the box because I lost that one. Welcome to my life. These ones, the stock pads, are far quicker responding than this one, and they're very comfortable. I think they isolate a little bit less. Sound quality wise, these are definitely much better. There is one little problem though. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. Feels as though the seal is so perfect, it builds up air. So when I take the pad off my ear, it makes a noise a little bit at times, and it gives a little pressure to the ear canal, and that's a bit weird. I've never experienced that before except on IEMs, and it's a little bit more on the left hand side than the right hand side. I don't really appreciate that. It kind of goes away, but it's still there kind of thing. So that breathability where it needs to let out a little bit of air, unfortunately, is not apparent on these, and that can give you a little pressure. And for me personally, I do feel it. I really do. The next pad we have is this one. The pad was on the table. Welcome to my fucking life. Oh, good God. Right, Bitwolf, leave that in. I was retarded. This one is their velour/velvet pad. And I need to actually get you the exact names of these and put it in the link in the description below. For tubes, these might rival the Elite lambskins. For comfort, these are better, I think, for the summer. I think these breathe a little bit better, and look at that soft material. They're built exceptionally well, and they do actually bounce back slower than this one. But once this one is sealed, it's definitely a tube amplifier pad. Now let me describe actually these pads, all of them. Let me take these out again. Why did I put it away? What an idiot. So let me discuss these pads with you. the OG pad, this one, gives a bright treble forward, very forward sound signature. Good tonal balance, not excellent. Slightly rolled off bass, where you think you might want a little more, but it's very transparent, stage is good, imaging is excellent. This is a very good tuning pad from Audeze. I really do like it. Then next to it, it doesn't go up or down, it's left or right. That's why I placed them like this, and I think I should place it like this. OG here. Then we come to its left, the Elite lambskin leather pads. Now these fixes the upper mid-range, lower treble forward frequency response. It's smoother there, and it just gets rid of that slight forwardness where it's just horrifically harsh at times for a lot of genres. Where the treble region is concerned, it smooths it out even more. It's not as bright, it's a bit more musical and definitely more elevated in the sub bass. This is a more corrected tonal balance. The timbre sounds slightly better. It's not as shrill, is not the right word, but shrill is what we're going to use. It's not as artificial, it's definitely more organic. This one is my favorite. This one is on the other side. It's not as bright as the OG pad, not as smooth and slightly warm as the Elite lambskin, but in between. A little bit more neutral, a little bit more studio-esque, a little bit more reference, and a little bit more flat. Definitely giving that credence to neutral, slight bright sounding, but smooth all the same. So for tubes where it warms it up, these are absolutely divine. These are incredible. These two pads from Dekoni are stunning with these headphones. If you own these, you need to own both of those pads, and you need to pad roll, and you need to get rid of the EQ, because I promise you, this will fix most of the issues of the LcdXC, and this one will take it to the next level on tubes. And when you do this, please come back to this review, put it in the comment section down below, and let me know your experiences, because for me, it's been absolutely freaking fantastic. So thanks to Dekoni again for sending these in for review and actually elevating the sound experience of the LcdXC for me. It's been wonderful. So, who are these headphones for? If you are in the 6XX range, in the lower tier flagships, you don't mind heavy headphones, these should be on the top of the list with Aria, because I think these surpass Aria in a lot of areas. The only area I would give it to Aria is the comfort and maybe a bit more of the stage. Aria's got that HD800S huge sounding. This just sounds like a big stage. This actually stages almost as well as Sesvara does in size, not in performance, in size. It's actually quite special. And the fact that they're closed back and they seal pretty well, they don't leak much, is quite fantastic. So if you're looking for a closed back for the office, you don't mind heavy headphones, but ultra comfortable at a good price point, and yet you can take it really high with pad rolling, these are the headphones. And don't get me wrong, even stock, they sound absolutely great with a lot of genres. They are good all-round daily driver headphones. I've had such a good time with these. A special thank you to Mimic Cables again for sending this in for review. I really do appreciate it. And thank you to Mo for sending in the pendant for review. You are an absolute legend, mate. I really do appreciate it. It's been so busy here. It's been so wonderful testing all these equipment. The review for this was a long time coming. I kept putting it off because new things kept happening, and quite honestly, I am blown away by these. So let's give it a score. These will score 4 tigers out of 5 with absolutely no hesitation. The only reason why they're not 5 tigers is because of the weight. Otherwise, perfect 4 tigers. Well done, Audeze. This is a fantastic upgrade. This is a wonderful all-round headphone for a lot of people. And the fact that they're closed back in a category where it was just barren before, sensational. Absolutely sensational. I would like to take a moment to thank my Patreon members for keeping the Audio Lounge private Telegram chat alive. And if you want early reviews, my impressions on all these equipments that's here for review and I've not had a chance to be reviewed yet, come and join us, where I will respond to you via voice where we can discuss all these wonderful high-end pieces of gear, and you will get the reviews before anyone else. I would like to extend a big thank you to our public Telegram chat members as well. Thank you for sending in all these equipment for review, such as the pendant, and it's very, very much appreciated. And a special thank you to all of you for getting the channel to 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. And I hope you all have a wonderful new year. I wish you all success in whatever endeavors you do. I am Koji CEO. I will see you in the next one. Peace.